The Breakdown.
Yeah, starting with Saviors by Green Day.
Do you wanna be my boyfriend? Do you wanna be my boyfriend?
This is the California Outfits 10th, 11th to 14th studio album, released the 19th of January via Reprise Records. Saviors consists of 15 tracks and, of course, is the follow-up to 2020's polarizing LP, Father of All. Cover your ears, motherfuckers.
Did they say it like in the album, or is it like father of all like ...
So,
I can't remember.
Like any good music critic, Sam, I went back and I listened to about like 50 seconds of the first 7 tracks on that album.
You had never, I was going to ask you this, so you'd never listened to that album.
What reason would I have had to?
0 reasons.
We didn't review it on the
0
show.
reasons. I don't want to say
I wasn't
like
a Green Day fan before that, really.
Yeah. And public opinion was strong enough that it like incentivized you to never check that album out.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And listen, this one starts off crazy because right off the bat we do not have the asterisk that no Swedish songwriters were involved,
Which
no hard drugs were involved. I forget the other thing, but there were like 3 specific things.
If they don't state it, does that mean that like by virtue of like not saying it that it is like this did include hard drugs and Swedish producers?
I'm just saying.
Like if you don't say that they're not there, that means they're there, you know, like by
you've
omission.
established now that you do need to claim that there is not.
Right, you have to clarify now because we're not sure unless you say otherwise. What the fuck was it? It was like no drugs, no Swedish producers,
no Swedish people,
just like hard uncut cock or whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
I never checked that album out either. I just had like 0 interest. I never listened to Uno Dos Tres either. I was just like,
by the way, pause. 3 different albums.
Yeah. I think I listened to Revolution Radio, which I believe came out after American Idiot, in which I was still hot on the band.
There's one in the middle.
There's another one.
I think.
There's another fucking album.
21st century lovey-dovey stuff.
Maybe that's the one I listened to, and I didn't get to Revolution Radio. That makes more sense.
Because Revolution Radio came out after, I want to say.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. If there was ever a bandwagon fan of this band, it's fucking me. All right, like I jumped in when they tried to be emo and immediately left when they quit. I was like, I'm done.
We got what? You were along for the ride for like 3 of the 14.
Yeah, I mean, I liked some of the earlier stuff. Like, I'm not going to pretend that, like, at the time, everyone wasn't in the Basket Case or fucking Dookie or whatever the song about masturbating not being fun anymore is. Like, though that's, like, Green Day's, like, prime A, and then prime B would be American Idiot, and now we're on, like, whatever the fuck we've been doing for the last 15 years.
We're not in a prime anymore.
Well,
we're not in a prime. Listen, Sam.
The question is, Marcos, have we returned to our prime with a new release, Saviors, which the band sort of has sold as hearkening back to their older style?
I'm going to let you run with it first. What are you thinking?
No. I tried so hard with this album. Like, I tried absolutely so fucking hard with this album because, like, I think that it was less Green Day and it was more like how my fandom of bands like Blink-182 and Taking Back Sunday paid dividends by holding on just enough that I finally got good albums again. I thought, you know what? Green Day's turn. Like, you're up.
I did go into this with as even keeled as possible.
Yeah,
like
I finally got one right. Whew. Optimistic. I was fucking optimistic about this. I was optimistic on this one despite not connecting with any of the singles. So like maybe I should have known better. And I think at this point the first 5 tracks were the single releases and everything after that would be a deep cut, quote unquote.
Yeah,
I believe if
so.
I remember correctly. Bobby Sox came out today, the day of the album's release.
One-Eyed Bastard came out a couple weeks ago. I think the first 2 tracks were the lead singles. That came out months ago.
I think they were almost like back-to-back weeks or something like that. And Dilemma, I want to say, was somewhere in between, and that's the one where they're like at a bar. Okay, so all of that being said, I would honestly say the first 5 songs of this album are kind of the hardest to get through. Truthfully, I think that in terms of singles, in terms of like pulling me into an album, I don't think any of these songs did the trick, and I don't think any of these songs are the strongest on the album. I think that, like, to start things off, it's almost a complete wash for me. I'm not completely turned off by what I'm hearing, but I'm just not getting anything that's really aligning with my taste. Like, nothing here is working for me, right? And nothing
Admittedly,
here,
that's a rough start, though, for an album. The first 5 tracks don't work for you.
this album I don't think is very good. In a
We're
sense
aligned.
that it does not align with my taste in any capacity. And also does not match the adoration I had for this band at the highest points in their career. So
No, I don't think that this matches any of the quality that I believe this band became popular off of. Like, if we're talking like American Idiot, like that era of this band, like there's so much more quality in the subject matter, in the just what we have to say in general.
it's
in the
more
hooks,
interesting.
the melodies.
It's more fun. It's just like overall I don't know exactly how to put it, but there's no hits on this album.
It's weird, right?
It is weird because you feel like you feel like the spirit's there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the ideology is like we're writing politically. We're doing it in a punk style, but we're still trying. We're making attempts at writing hooks. These songs aren't overly complicated.
No, we're not. We're not, dude. This
They're
is all...
well produced enough, right? Like there's not like an issue with the production where everything sounds like shoddy or something. Like I feel like on paper there's no major flub here. There's just none of it really. There's no magic. You know what I mean? Like nothing really comes together in the end.
But I think, like you said it right there. Like there's no like they're trying to write hooks. They're trying. I don't know. I don't really see it. I mean, they're trying something. I don't know if they're trying with the. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish
Because whatever it is, it doesn't like come across, right?
Not at all. I don't know what the fuck they're trying to accomplish with this album. I don't really see anything that they are trying to say. I'm just lost listening to this.
I'm skirting.
It's flavorless. It's weird.
Yes, it's just what it feels like overall. It's like all the ingredients are there, but there's no taste. You know what I mean?
I've
It's
drank
like
cups of water with more flavor than this album.
Fair.
I've eaten pieces of lettuce with more flavor than this album. It's just boring. It's bland.
This feels to me like the pop punk equivalent to metal's most recent Slipknot or Metallica album. Like everything's there. Like you've got this band with like an incredible repertoire of talent, and they're making promises that they're doing things that you're gonna love, and like they're still mimicking the style of music that made them popular, but all of the magic has just seeped, like for whatever reason, because of time or age or changing in like sensibilities and taste, like none of it hits the way it used to. So because of that, everything falls flat. But for me, you know, the most perplexing thing is that, like, for all intents and purposes, this is the Blink-182 album from last year, but that did connect in every way imaginable. You know, it's like they both tried the same thing. And why did that feel like a massive success where this feels like a massive failure?
I guess I don't really have the answer to that
right?
question.
Like I wonder, like on paper, like Blink-182 didn't do anything dramatically different. They sold it the same way, like sort of like returning to their roots in a sense, touching a lot of like different styles across their career, like additionally to that, and like, but bringing it all together and making it somehow feel fresh. But this feels washed. Like this style feels dull.
I did want to bring that up, and I'm glad you did. Like, that Blink-182 album runs absolute circles around this. I had an infinitely better time with it. I guess I don't really know why. Maybe just
It feels
what
like an anomaly
Blink-182
now.
does works on a more common basis for me. But even all that said and done, like, I like some of Green Day. What you're saying, like what you said, really hit the nail on the head, though. There's no hits on here. And for a band that I normally just look at as hit makers in Green Day, it's a weird listen.
There should be
Like,
a
how is
song,
this the same
right?
band that wrote Jesus of Suburbia, fucking 21 Guns, you know? Like, what is this? There's nothing happening on this record. It's just the biggest snooze fest I expect to hear all year round.
What really drove it home for me was repeat listenings, where I would get to about the 30-second mark in a song and just nothing compelled me to want to finish it.
Yep. Well,
Like,
you
I would
heard
just
all
be
of it.
like, ugh, this is bland.
Yeah. I mean, there's some okay moments. Like,
Occasionally there's something to chew on. Like, I think Susie Chapstick is kind of like a lyrically interesting song.
I think Goodnight Adeline is okay, but like we're
and Father to a Son is like a light enough
sure.
ballady track that it's almost like impossible to flub,
But we're talking like 3 out of 15 tracks at that point.
right? Which makes this a complete slog to get through, and it's no fun to revisit. And ultimately,
There's some rough lyrical, like, just I'm pretty sure we mentioned like TikTok, Instagram, like, this is not the band I want to be.
it feels unnatural,
Yeah.
right? Like when you hear people of a certain age sing about like
It also instantly dates the music.
that's less of a problem, and it's more so it just sort of takes me out of the experience. Like, it makes me too self-aware of what I'm listening to. I think that there is a way to do it in like properly and finesse it so that it doesn't feel that way, but
I
it
agree.
doesn't come across on this album. Like, whatever walking that fine line is, this band stumbles all over it. And you're right, hearing the words TikTok on a Green Day album is just, but it's funny. It's like, in some aspects, I do think this band's like mindset is correct or interesting. Like, them still singing about sort of like the downfall of the American nation rings true. Like, having them sort of talk about like a shooting in a grocery store is a line that clicks in a Green Day song, right?
Of course.
Like, yes, I do want this band to kind of like dabble into these topics. It's just like somewhere along the lines, there's like a melody that's supposed to like tie it all together that makes me want to
a big
listen to the
chorus.
song again, and none of it's here. And I will say that, like, instrumentally, I don't know that there's like a less compelling artist in this like scene right now than Green Day. Like, there's not a fucking riff or a beat to be found on here that in any way I can like recollect.
No, you can. And I checked like the YouTube comments to make sure I wasn't the only one who heard it.
What?
One-Eyed Bastard just rips So What by Pink, that main riff.
I'd have to go back and listen to it. I don't know that I've heard
It's like
So What
the
recent enough to
bass
even
line or
know.
whatever. But like, it is exactly that. And first of all, I can't stand that original song.
Sure.
Definitely don't like this track. I don't know. Like you said, they dabble in these things, like shooting in the grocery store or whatever. But like,
Lyrically,
I'd
I
rather this
occasionally
band
find them interesting.
dive into that stuff, because at least then there's something to chew on. But there's nothing here. Zero for me here. This is a wasteland as far as like my taste goes. There's nothing for me.
Did you catch the Nirvana lyric reference in Fancy Sauce, I believe? Did that would have gone over your head?
Maybe. What was it?
Okay, I forget the exact line, but it's like a rather famous Nirvana line.
There's a couple.
in the comments, please. In the comments.
This some crazy ones.
But like it was interesting to sort of see them like tip a cap to a band like that. Like, I didn't hate something like that. I don't know. It just feels like this. Everything on here is, it's like I listen to it and I'm like, I could see how this could be good.
I don't know.
Sadly, it's not.
I like
on this album.
I look
unfortunately,
at everything. I look at like the artwork. I look at this track listing, the names in here, bro. Living in the 20s, Susie Chapstick, Bobby Socks. Like, this band has nothing left to say.
Again, doesn't that like play to like, you know, Jesus of Suburbia? Isn't this how this band names fucking songs? Like, isn't this band doing everything that on paper they should be doing, and that just none of it comes together?
Fancy Sauce. Like, are you a Blue Swan band now? Like,
I don't know.
What the fuck's going on, dude?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. I would say that, like, it's by no means egregious in a sense that, like, I don't find anything to be like,
it's not appalling,
poorly produced or anything.
Granted,
it's just like,
holy shit, the 8 minutes that I spent with Father of All were god awful.
Okay, so you're saying by comparison, this band has like gotten much better.
We're so back.
Okay,
we're
sure.
so back.
Green Day fans celebrating, but
they kind of are. It's bizarre.
Us casuals, I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 10. I really have next to no incentive to revisit it, but there's potential that if you've been following this band for quite some time, you may find something in here that speaks to you. It's just, for me personally, I probably had a absolutely okay time with my first listen, and it was diminishing returns after that.
This is a real light 2 for me.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Just based on my own personal taste, there is no reason I will ever come back to this record, and I think that's a pretty good testament as to why I think that score is appropriate for it.
Yeah,
you might like it. I don't know. I never really cared about the band that much in the first place.